everyone, welcome to another game review, this time of Ratchet and Clank, the 2016 version, which I played the PS4 back in 2016 and wrote a review of. I've actually played it many times since, so this review is nowhere near as in-depth as some of the thoughts I've had since then, but this is the one I initially wrote when I was fairly fresh to writing reviews. But I should still point out, as always, people will know Ratchet and Clank is my favourite game series. But anyway, so Ratchet and Clank are back. This time they are gracing us with their first outing at the time to current gen consoles. The latest installment of the game, again, if I say at the time, it's because, like I say, there's been games since, but this was the 2016 game, and this is the review I wrote at that time. But anyway, it's not quite a remake, a remaster, or retelling, but sort of a blurry mix of all three, because Ratchet and Clank 2016 is based on the movie of the same name, which is based on the original game. So don't worry if that sounds a bit confusing. Just, play it and enjoy what you're in for. So you're largely playing along as Ratchet, alongside Clank in a few sections, who, with the help of the Galactic Rangers, must put an end to Chairman Drek's dastardly plan to destroy planets to construct a new homeworld for his fellow Blarg. So long-time fans of the series, and considering the original came out way back in 2002, you've earned the right to call yourself that, you'll notice similarities and differences. So every planet that you visit featured in the original game, but the enemies, the environments, even the sky look sexier, of course, than Captain Quark posing as Black Widow, which, to be fair, isn't that hard, but my point is the game is gorgeous. Long-time fans will immediately feel at home with where the game sends them, and even though some areas and some planets are cut from the original game, there are expansions on some of the planets that you do go to, as well as objectives and side quests to complete, one collecting Telepathopus brains being a personal favourite of mine. If you're a newbie to the series though, I'm jealous of a thrill that you'll get from entering this wonderful universe for the first time. So colourful characters, of course, have always been a part of the Ratchet and Clank series. Familiar faces return alongside new cast members. So it wouldn't be a Ratchet and Clank game, of course, without the titular heroes. Their strong relationship quickly building throughout the game. The bumbling idiot Captain Quark, of course, has a big role to play in the story, and awkward geek Big Al is always at hand as ever to provide upgrades for our heroes. So alongside the fan favourites, of course, come the newbies Brax and Cora Verilux, two Galactic Rangers who help Ratchet and Clank save the day. And I think there's another Galactic Ranger off the top of my head I'm forgetting the name of, so please forgive me. There's also the inclusion of Grim, who owns the workshop that Ratchet works at. This is the first time that we saw Grim appear, even though obviously Ratchet's garage, as it were, is in the original game, but was never given that much backstory. And his brother Felton, who it turns out is the owner of the Pokotaru Resort, that also returns from the original game. So these new characters, personally, I felt sort of fleshed out relationships and plot of the game, if you were counting this as maybe a reboot. It builds backstory to parts of the original, and it seemed to fit with the story without being too much of a retcon, as it were. Chairman Drek, of course, returns in ways as the primary antagonist. His murderous lieutenant, Victor Von Iron, has had a visual upgrade. But interestingly, Dr. Nefarious is in the game, like I say, because this is sort of a mashing of the first three all put together in ways. Still in his pre-cyborg days at this point, though. He has a large role to play in the plot. And again, Insomniac have cleverly weaved things in there, elements of the original games, into one, without it just seeming bolted on. So, Dr. Nefarious, it turns out, is the mastermind behind many of the weapons and gadgets in the Ratchet and Clank universe, at least in this game. I say that because subsequently following it, it seems that Insomniac have decided that this is kind of maybe an alternate universe. They didn't quite ignore it in the later game, but hey-ho. Crazy weapons, of course, are a staple of the Ratchet and Clank games as well. So your arsenal comes packing heat from many of the previous titles. And a little pleasing bit of fan service, you can now collect or have enemies drop holo cards that are allow you to unlock sets of bonuses for sort of melee damage or damage to robots or bolts collected. Like I say, you need to complete these holo card sets to unlock the Omega versions of each weapon as well, to use in challenge mode, as well as the Rhino super weapon. They are separate cards scattered throughout each planet. So each holo card has a unique character or weapon or location that refers to one of the previous Ratchet and Clank titles. So like I say, collecting them all actually gives you a bit of a rich history of Ratchet and Clank, as it were. See some of the weapons that didn't make the final cut, and of course don't forget to collect final gold bolts for extra bonuses. So gameplay and aesthetically, the game is more akin to the more recent Ratchet and Clank games, as in slicker controls, beautifully visual, a bit more actiony, The game's got increasingly actiony, I think, as they went on, but also the story is still pretty good. Several cutscenes from the film feature in the game. They show the Solana galaxy in all its beauty. The audio transports you to the far reaches of space and Nostalgia Lane 2. Many sounds from previous games seem to be returning. I just love the Ratchet and Clank soundtrack. I often play it on Spotify. The sound of a swing shot still made me tingle as much as it did over a decade ago. So my final consensus for Ratchet and Clank 2016 would be recommended. All in all, whether you're a long-time fan or you've yet to play any Ratchet and Clank game, I genuinely feel like it's a worthy candidate, a worthy entry to the series for, like I say, classic fans or new ones alike. There's a good humorous platformer, some great action, stunning visuals, and a banger of a soundtrack. As always, thanks for checking out this game review. If you're interested in any other social media I use, it will be linked in the description below as always. But for now, stay safe, take care, peace and nugs.